Right now, sitting inside your Windows 11 laptop, there are at least 10 settings quietly working against you. Not broken settings, not bugs. Features Microsoft turned on by default on purpose, because leaving them on benefits Microsoft far more than it benefits you. Some of them are taking secret screenshots of everything on your screen right now, this very second, while you are watching this video. Some of them are feeding your typing habits into an AI training pipeline you never actually agreed to, buried inside a settings toggle you have probably never once clicked. Some of them are simply plastering advertisements across your start menu like your $600 laptop is a free app riddled with pop-ups, the kind you would immediately uninstall from your phone if it behaved this way, and almost nobody knows where to find the switch to turn any of it off, because Microsoft buried these controls across a dozen different menus, hoping you would just give up looking halfway through and leave everything set to whatever benefits them most. In this video, I am walking you through the 10 settings you genuinely need to turn off in Windows 11 right now in this 2026 edition, exactly where to find each one, and exactly why each one matters more than you probably think. Stick around until the end of this video, because the very last one on this list is the setting almost nobody talks about, and it might genuinely be the most important one of all. Before we dive into the list, it helps to understand why this problem has actually gotten worse over the past 2 years rather than better. Windows 11 in 2026 is genuinely not the same operating system it was when it first launched. Microsoft has steadily layered in AI-powered tools, cloud integrations, and forced background services with nearly every major update since, and many of these additions arrive quietly enabled by default, buried in settings pages most people never open, sometimes even re-enabling themselves after a feature update rolls through your machine. This is not a one-time cleanup you do once and forget about. It is an ongoing maintenance habit, and by the end of this video, you will know exactly which 10 switches matter most right now in this current version of Windows, sitting on whatever machine you are watching this on. Number 1 on this list, and honestly the most controversial feature Microsoft has shipped in years, is Windows Recall. If you own one of Microsoft's newer Copilot Plus PCs, Recall is very likely already running in the background, quietly taking periodic screenshots of literally everything you do on your screen, every email you read, every private message, every password field you accidentally leave visible for half a second. All of it gets captured, processed with on-device AI, and turned into a searchable timeline Microsoft describes as your own personal photographic memory. When Microsoft first previewed this feature back in 2024, it stored those screenshots completely unencrypted in plain readable text, sitting right there on your hard drive for any attacker or curious family member to find. Public backlash forced Microsoft to pull the feature entirely, then quietly bring it back months later with encryption and biometric authentication added on top. Even with those improvements in place, ask yourself honestly whether you want a permanent, searchable archive of your entire digital life sitting on your machine, one single database that becomes an enormous target the moment anyone gains access to your device. There is another angle to this worth mentioning, one that rarely comes up in the standard privacy checklists. Microsoft is a United States-based company, which means it must comply with laws that allow government agencies to legally request or intercept certain data, sometimes without a warrant, even if you personally live somewhere else entirely in the world. Even when recall data physically stays stored on your own local device, Microsoft's broader infrastructure, your account, the authentication system, the underlying telemetry pipeline, still gives the company a technical and legal foothold into what is happening on your machine. There is currently no clear public statement confirming that Recall fully complies with strict data protection regulations like the European Union's GDPR, which is a fairly significant gap for a feature that captures this much sensitive information by default. To shut it down, open Settings, go to Privacy and Security, then Recall and Snapshots, and toggle Save Snapshots completely off. While you are there, click Delete All to wipe out anything it may have already quietly captured before you even knew it existed. Number 2 is Microsoft Copilot, and this one is sneakier than most people realize because it is not contained inside one single app anymore. Copilot is woven directly into Word, Excel, Outlook, Microsoft Edge, Notepad, and even the Windows search bar itself. Every single time you interact with Copilot inside any of these tools, your prompts and the surrounding context get sent off your device and processed on Microsoft's cloud servers. That means whatever you type into Copilot is no longer sitting privately on your own machine. There is also a separate gaming Copilot feature built into the Xbox Game Bar, and Microsoft has openly stated that chat data from that specific feature may be used to train and improve its AI models going forward. Simply closing the Copilot window does absolutely nothing to stop this background activity. You need to go into Settings, then Personalization, then Taskbar, and turn the Copilot button off directly. For a more complete removal, head into Settings, then Apps, then Installed Apps, find Copilot, and uninstall it outright. Power. Users can go even further using Group Policy, navigating to User Configuration, Administrative Templates, Windows Components, Windows Copilot, and enabling the policy that turns Windows Copilot off system-wide. It is also worth checking Task Manager under the Startup tab, since Copilot frequently launches automatically in the background for many accounts even when you never intentionally open it yourself, quietly consuming memory and processing power before you have typed a single word. Number 3 is something most people never even open, called Tailored Experiences, and it is doing far more than its friendly-sounding name suggests. This setting allows Microsoft to take the diagnostic data your machine already sends back and use it specifically to personalize tips, suggestions, and advertisements that get shown to you throughout the operating system. In plain language, Microsoft is watching how you use your own computer specifically to figure out what to advertise to you next. Head into Settings, then Privacy and Security, then Diagnostics and Feedback, and switch Tailored Experiences firmly to Off. While that page is open, look for the option to delete diagnostic data Microsoft has already collected, and click it, because turning the setting off going forward does absolutely nothing about the data already sitting on Microsoft's servers from before today. Number 4 is the broader diagnostic data setting itself, sometimes still casually called telemetry, and here is the honest, slightly frustrating truth about it. You cannot fully eliminate it through any officially supported method on a standard Home or Pro edition of Windows. Microsoft requires a baseline stream of data just to keep Windows Update and basic security functioning correctly. But you absolutely can shrink that stream down to its smallest possible footprint. In that same Diagnostics and Feedback menu, find the option for optional diagnostic data and switch it off completely, leaving only the required minimum Microsoft insists on collecting to keep basic servicing functional. This single change alone dramatically reduces how much detail about your daily computer usage leaves your machine every single day without you ever noticing it happening. Number 5 is personalized advertising, and if you have ever opened your Start menu and felt like you were staring at a shopping app instead of an operating system, this is exactly why. Windows 11 currently displays advertisements inside the Start menu, the lock screen, the Microsoft Store, the Settings app itself, and even File Explorer. To fight back, go into Settings, then Privacy and Security, then General, and look for the toggle labeled Let Apps Show Me Personalized Ads Based on My Advertising ID, a setting most people scroll straight past without ever reading closely. Turn that off immediately. Right next to it, you will typically find an option called Show Me Suggested content, sometimes phrased as tips, tricks, and recommendations. Turn that off too. These two toggles alone will noticeably calm down how aggressively Windows tries to sell you things while you are simply trying to open a document. Number 6 is Activity History, a quieter feature that logs the apps you open, the websites you visit, and the files you interact with, storing that entire timeline locally and, depending on your account settings, potentially syncing it across every device tied to your Microsoft account. Head into Settings, then Privacy and Security, then Activity History, and uncheck the box that says Store my activity history on this device, a single checkbox that quietly controls far more than its plain, unassuming label suggests. If you use a Microsoft account rather than a local account, there is a good chance this same activity data has also been syncing quietly to Microsoft's cloud for months or even years without you ever reviewing what has piled up there. Number 7 is inking and typing personalization, a setting most people have genuinely never heard of, which is exactly why it deserves a spot on this list. This feature builds a custom dictionary based on your actual typing patterns, and if you use a touchscreen or stylus device, your handwriting as well. Go into Settings, then Privacy and Security, then Inking and Typing Personalization, and disable the Custom Dictionary option. Then head back into Diagnostics and Feedback and turn off the setting labeled Improve Inking and Typing, which specifically governs whether that personal typing data gets shared with Microsoft in the first place. Number 8 is Windows search, reaching outside your own computer without asking, and this one genuinely surprises a lot of people the first time they notice it. By default, typing a simple query into the Windows search bar does not just search your own local files. It also quietly pulls in live web results powered by Bing, blending your private local searches with public internet results in one single unified box. This means Microsoft can see what you are typing into what feels like a private offline search field. You can trim this back significantly inside Settings, under Privacy and Security, by reviewing the Search Permissions section and disabling Cloud Content Search where available, though full removal of Bing integration. On consumer editions often requires registry-level changes or dedicated privacy tools for a truly clean, local-only search experience. Even a partial fix here noticeably speeds up how quickly local results appear, since your search bar is no longer waiting on a round trip to Microsoft servers before showing you a file sitting right there on your own hard drive. Number 9 is OneDrive automatically syncing your files the moment you set up a new Windows 11 installation on a fresh install. OneDrive frequently begins backing up your desktop, documents, and pictures folders to Microsoft's cloud without asking for clear, explicit confirmation first. If you have never deliberately chosen this, open OneDrive settings from the system tray, head into the Backup tab, and manually stop backing up each folder you do not want silently uploaded. If you want OneDrive gone from your workflow entirely, you can unlink your account directly from those same settings, and background sync processes will stop running the moment you do. Keep in mind that even after unlinking, some users have reported OneDrive quietly reinstalling itself or re-enabling folder backup after a subsequent Windows feature update, so it is worth glancing back at this setting periodically rather than assuming it stays off permanently once you have made the change. Before we move to the final item on the list, there is one more setting worth a quick mention, tucked away inside your security software itself. Windows Security includes an option called Cloud Delivered Protection, along with a companion setting called Automatic Sample Submission. Together, these features send information about suspicious files, and sometimes entire file samples, off your machine to Microsoft servers for analysis. For most people, keeping this enabled genuinely does improve malware detection speed, since Microsoft can update protections across every Windows machine in the world almost instantly when a new threat is discovered. But if you handle sensitive documents regularly, work with confidential business files, or simply prefer a stricter boundary around anything leaving your device automatically, you can find this setting inside Settings, then Privacy and Security, then Windows Security, then Virus and Threat Protection, then Manage Settings. Weigh the trade-off honestly here, because unlike most items on this list, turning this one off does come with a real, measurable reduction in how quickly your machine reacts to brand new, previously unseen threats. And now, number 10, the one I promised you at the beginning, and honestly the one most privacy guides completely skip over: your app permissions. Every single app installed on your Windows 11 machine, including ones you barely remember downloading, potentially has standing access to your camera, your microphone, your precise location, your file system, your contacts, and your calendar. Most people grant these permissions once during setup and then never think about them again for years. Head into Settings, then Privacy and Security, and scroll down through the full list of app permissions one category at a time. Camera, microphone, location, file system access, background apps, notifications, contacts, calendar. Go through each one individually and revoke access for any app that has absolutely no legitimate reason to need it. Does your calculator app really need microphone access? Does a simple note-taking app genuinely need your precise location at all times? This single audit, tedious as it sounds, is consistently ranked by security professionals as one of the single most effective day-to-day privacy habits you can build into your routine, and it takes most people under 10 minutes to complete once they finally sit down and actually do it. One important limitation worth being upfront about before we move on: everything on this list controls what happens on your own physical device, but it does not touch the separate world of data brokers, companies that collect and sell your name, address, phone number, and employment history from public records and commercial databases entirely independent of anything Windows itself is doing. A perfectly locked down operating system will not stop a people search website from listing your home address if that information already made its way into a data broker's database years ago through some other unrelated source. That is a genuinely separate problem requiring its own separate solution, usually a dedicated data removal service, but it is worth knowing that these 10 settings, thorough as they are, only address one half of your overall digital privacy picture. Now, a quick word of honest caution before you go flipping every switch you can find. Some more aggressive third-party privacy tools out there promise to disable telemetry completely, strip out every trace of Microsoft's data collection, and lock everything down to near zero, all with one convenient click. Be careful with these. Completely blocking required telemetry through unofficial registry hacks or aggressive firewall rules can occasionally interfere with Windows Update, break Microsoft Store functionality, or cause subtle issues with security diagnostics down the road. The 10 changes I just walked you through are all made through Microsoft's own official supported settings menus and group policy options. They are reversible, they are safe, and they will not break your system. If you ever want to go further using more advanced registry edits or dedicated third-party tools, always create a system restore point first, and only change one setting at a time so you can clearly identify what caused any issue if something unexpected happens afterward. It is worth stepping back for a moment and acknowledging something honestly, rather than pretending every single feature on this list is purely malicious. Some of these tools genuinely help a meaningful number of people. Recall can be a real productivity boost for someone who constantly loses track of which document they were working on last Tuesday. Copilot can save real-time drafting emails or summarizing long reports for people who use it deliberately and knowingly. The problem was never that these features exist. The problem is that Microsoft chose to enable most of them by default quietly, without a clear explanation of exactly what data leaves your device and where it goes once it does, turning a feature off. After reading about it, here is a completely different act of consent than never being told it was running in the first place. Here is the bigger pattern worth understanding once you have gone through all 10 of these changes. None of this happened by accident. Microsoft did not stumble into building an operating system that quietly takes screenshots, feeds an AI training pipeline, displays advertisements in the Start menu, and buries the actual controls across a dozen scattered settings pages. Every single one of these choices was made deliberately, weighed against the benefit it provides Microsoft in data, engagement, and advertising revenue. That does not necessarily make Windows some secret evil surveillance operation, and reasonable people can disagree about exactly how alarmed to be about any single one of these features individually, but it absolutely means the default experience out of the box is built to favor Microsoft's interests first and your privacy and control second, unless you personally take the time to go in and change that balance yourself. The good news, now that you have gone through this entire list, is that your Windows 11 machine should already feel noticeably calmer, fewer pop-ups interrupting your work, fewer background processes quietly phoning. Home. Fewer moments where you wonder exactly who might be seeing what you just typed or clicked, and the honest truth is that you did not lose a single meaningful feature you actually needed to get through your day. You simply took back the handful of decisions Microsoft made on your behalf the moment you first turned this machine on and reclaimed them for yourself instead, one settings menu at a time. If this video just saved you 20 minutes of digging through scattered menus trying to find these settings yourself, buried across half a dozen different pages Microsoft never bothered to organize in one convenient place, do me a favor and hit that like button right now. It genuinely helps this video reach more people who deserve a cleaner, quieter, more private version of the operating system they already paid good money for. And if you want more practical guides like this one, walking you through exactly what to change and exactly why it matters, no fluff, no filler, just the settings that actually make a difference, make sure you are subscribed, because Microsoft rolls out new features and new defaults constantly, and I will be right here breaking down every single one of them as they arrive. One last thing worth remembering, Microsoft rolls out major feature updates several times a year, and those updates have a well-documented habit of quietly re-enabling settings you already turned off, reinstalling apps you already removed, and resetting registry keys you carefully configured months earlier. Do not treat this list as a one-time chore you complete and forget about forever. Bookmark this video, revisit these same 10 settings after every major Windows update lands on your machine, and make this quick privacy check a normal, recurring part of how you maintain your computer, the same way you would check your smoke detector batteries or update your passwords every few months without needing a special reminder to do it. Like this video if it helped you take back a little more control over your own machine today. Subscribe for more Windows guides just like this one, and I will see you in the next video where we keep digging into exactly what is running quietly in the background of the technology you use every single day.